It's going to take a little while. We're going to get some people on, and I'm going to answer some questions. So as soon as you come on, let me know who you are and who's along for the ride, because it's going to be fun. I'm going to make sure of it. Let's have a look. Who's on? Now, I'm not able to go on Insta, which I'm gutted about. In fact, I might do. I've only got 5% battery, but I might go on for a little while. Let me know if you're on. Say hello. Emmanuel's on. How are you, Emmanuel? Thank you so much. It's good to hear from you. Who else is on? Let me see. George Cooper. Leanne, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us. We're just going to get the numbers up. Going to make sure. I'm just gutted because my phone ran out of battery. So I was going to hop on Instagram, but we'll see how it goes. I may go on in a minute. Anastasia, how are you? In a minute, all that I want from each and every one of you is a question. Let me know something that you are desperate to know, because that's what I want to happen. I want to answer as many questions as possible for as many actors as possible. Also, every single one of you who's watching right now, come on, say hello. Let me know that you're here. And big gratis to the first person who leaves a question. You'll get a shout out. You genuinely will. So I'm still kind of 50-50. Do I start up my Instagram or not? Right, who's got the first question? Come on, it's time. On the chat, get in your first question, and I'm ready to answer. Let's have a look. So we are currently on LinkedIn, Actors Worldwide. We've got our first question. I love it. We're on YouTube Live. We are on Twitter Live. We're just not on Instagram, which is annoying because my phone's run out of battery. I usually do Instagram on my phone. Right, first question. Is there a link or correlation between acting and directing? Right, it's a really interesting one. I've just got into directing. So, and it's a very, very good question. Yes, there is. Directing's a funny one. A lot of actors become directors because as a director, it's so important. And the one thing that directors really struggle with is understanding the actor's process. And it's something I'm working with a university in Leeds at the minute, where I'm going to be doing some talks and some lectures for the students in the actors process. And we're going to be kind of getting actors involved so that these directors and these young directors can really understand the actors process. That is why a lot of actors do go and find it very easy to kind of slip into directing, because really the main job of a director is actually direct the actors first and foremost. And then obviously you pick up and you learn about shots and you work with usually a director of photography that's really, really good at capturing the shots that you want. But first and foremost, you have to be a good leader and you have to be able to direct the actors and understand the actors process. I hope that helps. Hi, Tasha. I hope you're well. Let's have a look. George Cooper, what made you decide to change from being an actor to an acting coach? I get this an awful lot. I actually started acting coaching very early at 16, would you believe? Because I finished all these kind of Guildhall exams and then kind of started teaching when I was 16 and realized that I really, really enjoyed it. And then when I worked out that actually acting coaching isn't just about learning Stanislavski and telling people Stanislavski, that's the easy bit. It's actually watching the transient nature of this industry and working out what's changing, what directors want, and then really feeding in your own take on acting technique. And that is exactly what I started to do. I started to have my own methods. I came up with the Trinity acting method, and just found that is my absolute calling. I enjoyed my career, some really good shows, some really good stuff, but my passion wasn't in it. My passion, genuinely, when I worked out that when an actor that I trained got a role and that I buzzed off that 20 times more than I ever when I got a call, then that was it for me. That was it. Great question. Anastasia says, I am well, thank you. Hope you are too. If it's relevant, I would like to know something about Academy. As a newcomer, I visit only acting school for now. Okay, Anastasia, I don't quite get your question, but I presume you might mean my academy. So we're an international academy. We do Zoom classes all over the world. And we literally do have an international feel to our Zoom classes, but we also do classes in Yorkshire. And genuinely, we do really, really well. We teach Trinity Acting method, but there's so many ways really in which to get involved in MZA. So we have online digital courses, we have the Zoom classes, we have the in-person classes, we have master classes, and obviously an agency attached as well. So there's so many ways to get involved in MZA, and we kind of offer the full package, you know. So an actor can come to us and they can be taught, but they can also learn the business of acting and kind of have an agency and get jobs and kind of audition alongside training, which is something that we kind of pride ourselves on. So I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, make sure you get back on and make sure you ask again. Leanne, for someone just starting out, how are you best to start off? Do you need to study at college, uni? Right, this is a really, really good question. Okay, Leanne, I love that. So the old in this industry, in the 70s, 80s, going right back to Victorian theatre, what you did is you moved to London, you went to a big, massive acting school, you know, the ones RADA, East 15, and you got in a lot of debt, and usually it was only rich people could afford it, so the industry was not very inclusive, and that was the only way. And now people like Jodie Comer and others have proved that it just doesn't have to be that way. So schools like ours fill in that void. You know, people can learn professional acting techniques. Literally, I call it get under the bonnet. So you think of like a mechanic, you know, learning to be a mechanic without going under the bonnet. You know, with our organisation and others, you get under the bonnet, you audition, you learn the business of acting, and you know, Spotlight, they have even changed their kind of rules because they want people from every background, not just people that can afford to go to these drama schools. So it's changed. The landscape has changed. It's the most exciting time when people decide that they want to be an actor. It's the most exciting time to do it because the landscape has changed. So Leanne, you're with me. You're in the absolute best place, genuinely. I'm not just saying that because you're at MZA. You're genuinely in the best place. Tasha says, talking about, I get that teaching, get so much more out of it. Absolutely. Teaching is so much better for me. But then again, for some people, it wouldn't be. But for me, it just is. I get more of a buzz from serving others, etc. Hey, Theo, how are you? You've got a good question coming up. I can feel it. Okay, let's have a look. Anastasia says, thank you, Matt. Don't worry, Anastasia. It'd be great for you to get involved. DM me. I will sort you out with a free class. That's for anyone, actually. You can have a free class on me to trial it. And, you know, there's so many ways to get involved. Go on my link tree, which is linktr.ee/Matt Zina. You can, so many ways to get involved and learn. So Theo says, I think I'm getting more and more frustrated because people keep telling me to be patient and wait for that acting job, that it will come. But is that true, that you just have to sit and wait? Great question. I'll be honest. Theo sent me this to my inbox. And I said, you know what? Save it and I will answer that for everyone because it's a very, very, very good question. So there's two ways to answer this. One, you shouldn't have to wait around because you're an acting business and you should be going and getting acting jobs. Okay? So you're an acting business. There's so much work out there. You need to be hammering down doors. You need to be doing all sorts of different type of work, Theo. All right? Voiceover. You need to be an actor. You need to do things like medical role play. You need to create an acting business and just think, do you know what? I'm just going to constantly work and maybe not do that particular job that you've got in mind, because I know what job you've got in mind, right? But just keep working, become an acting business, apply for your own roles, work with your agent, Be really, really ruthless. I don't like that word, but really, really just, what's the word I'm trying to, just keep going and keep going and keep going. All right, because you can get work and you can constantly work, and what you'll do is you'll build up your resilience, you'll build up your CV, and then what happens is, Theo, is the kind of job that you're saying that will come, and the kind of job that you're saying you're waiting for, obviously needs writing, and particularly you, Theo, who's in like a real niche. That job will come, and when it comes, you've not been sat around waiting for it. You've got experience, resilience. You've been hustling around for different jobs and different types of jobs. And when that comes, you're confident. And what happens is suddenly you genuinely, that role comes along, and it might be not be now, it might be in a year's time, but you've not been sat around waiting for it. You've been hustling and working, and then it comes, and then you're confident, and then genuinely, you have a better chance of getting it. And because you've worked on your marketing package, you're in a niche, you've got a really, really good chance of getting it. Okay, I hope that helps. All right, and that's how you've got to do it. Don't just sit around and wait, actors. Do not sit around and wait. There's work everywhere. Content creation's massive at the minute. Go and create content as an actor. There's so many ways in which you create a personal brand, get on social media, create your own content, be an actor all of the time. Don't just sit and wait for a role to come in, because, like I say, the role that's perfect for you needs writing, and it will be at some point, as long as you're in a niche and as long as you genuinely market that niche. Brilliant. Let's see, where are we? So many questions coming in. I'm loving it. When it comes to method acting, do you think it's possible that some actors can go to the extreme or way too far in preparation mode? At what limit is it way too far for an actor? Absolutely brilliant question. I absolutely believe in method acting. It's part of the Trinity. You do need to be psychologically and physically prepared for any role that you're embarking upon. The only time when there's a limit to it is when it affects the shoot. That's the answer. So directors can get so annoyed with actors because they're doing their preparation. And now, if you're really professional, you should be able to do that method and that preparatory stuff around the shoot without holding up that shoot. Shoots now are on such a tight budget. Shoots can be up to about $3,000 a minute, some of them. You have to genuinely be professional. And if you're stalling that shoot through your preparatory method element of the Trinity, for instance, that's no good. And that is where the limit is. Okay, I hope that helps. And there's been lots of actors and stories of directors falling out of actors who are really kind of, it's all about them and their preparation and method, and they're just like, it's holding up the shoot. All right, that's not fair, and that's not professional. I do not agree with that. So that's the limit. But by all means, you should be doing it because it's part of your prep. Well done. Anastasia says, I do go terms a day school. Just want to know if there is any more than just weekly lessons. Yes, there's so much more. So much more, Anastasia. There's go on the link tree, okay, and you will see that there's digital courses. There's all this content that I'm putting out. There's the chance to be mentored personally by me. There's masterclasses, special events. There's so much. There's a podcast. There's a YouTube channel. Honestly, I never stop. All right. So Anastasia, get involved in absolutely everything, and I'm so glad that you are one of us. All right, genuinely. Adam Mass says, hi, mate. Christian McDonald says, what advice would you give to an actor who wants to reinvent themselves? Christian, I love that question. Love that question. Christian, be so careful, because I presume that you feel like you appear one way and you want to appear a different way. Now, Christian, you are you, and you need to remember that you need to niche down into genuinely what you are. Chances are maybe you've put yourself out there as something that you maybe are not, which is the best thing, because then what you can do is reinvent yourself as genuinely you. Remember, acting's difficult, and actors find this difficult because most acting is about what we call crisis. So most things written are gloomy and about the darker side of life. So when actors come and display themselves in a scene, it's usually the ugly sides of themselves. But a lot of actors aren't comfortable with that, and certainly don't market the ugly side of themselves. You know, if they are a bit this or a bit that, what you need to do is really discover who you are, and then that be what you reinvent yourself as, and make sure all your showreel material, marketing material, everything is genuinely what personality traits or archetypes you sell. What you are going to get cast as that nobody else will, and make sure that that's really, really prominent in everything you put out there, whether it's on social media, your personal brand, whether it's your marketing package, your CV, headshot, everything. And believe me, if you want to reinvent yourself, that's the best way to do it, and you will get more acting work. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Come back to me, Christian. That was a really interesting one. Oh, I love this question. Sindelish says, silly question. How do you cry on demand? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So there's a few ways. One, let's face it, like men don't cry as much as women. Now, the one thing you should never do is force it, okay, during a scene. There's two ways to look at this. You have to get yourself involved in the emotion of the scene. You don't pretend anything. You genuinely feel the emotion. Now, if you connect with the circumstances and the emotion in that moment, it may happen, okay? If for some reason the director needs tears, then there's ways, okay? There's it's like silicone gel that can run down your face. There's tears stick, and there's ways in which you can actually do it as well. There's special ways where you rub your eyeballs and then keep your eyes open, and suddenly it pours out. But never ever force it or do the face or do the, you know, connect with that scene. Connect with that scene. Now you can do a special trick where basically you get an emotional response from anything that you focus on. Now, if you know historically that there's something that you get an emotional response from that makes you cry, then make sure that you're able to either think of that. It might be a song. Get your ear pods in, all right? Whatever it is, make sure if you get an emotional response from something historically that makes you cry, save it for the can, save it for the scene. Okay, let's have a look. Good evening, says Jane Masters. I hope you're well. Theo, should you put your disability on spotlight, or does it put people off? Theo, great question. My favorite question ever. Genuinely. Right now we're in the realms of inclusivity. BBC, every single production company, everywhere is mad on inclusivity. It should be front and literally at the front, and it should be front and foremost of everything that you put out there. Let everybody know, stand behind it, be proud of it. Any disabilities out there, guys, need to be front and center. Why? Because one, they now have policies where they give so many auditions to people who have certain disabilities, who are of different ethnicities, everything. So if you genuinely have something where it would usually go against inclusivity, put it front and center and you'll get that audition. You'll certainly have more chance of getting that audition. So that answers that question. And it's a very, very good question. Well done, Theo. Leanne, brilliant. Sorry, a deaf one. Does MZA act as an agency too? Is that the way to get jobs? Yes, we do. So anybody who's in MZA, you just get in touch with me or agency@mzacting.com. And we send you the link. We get you set up with an online CV and we start representing you. As well as that, Leanne, you can apply for your own roles through Mandy, Backstage, all of these different websites. And between us, we build up a CV and we get going with your career. Leanne, you're a fantastic actor. Okay, genuinely, let's get going. Email agency at, in fact, I'm going to write it in the thing for you. agency@mzacting.com. Okay, there we go. And email and get, and we will respond to that, and we will get you linked up to our casting networks. If you are a member of MZA. Okay, so Leanne, make sure that as soon as possible you get on our agency. Why? Because you're fantastic. You really, really are. Okay. Theo says, should you email casting directors? Yes, you should, but only ever email casting directors as long as you have a reason for email a casting director, if that makes sense. And it can be something as little as, Theo, right, I've got new headshots, new show reel. I'd like to send it to you. Also, what you need to do is also, when you contact a casting director, don't be, right, remember this phrase, don't be an ask hole. Right, yes, right? Don't go, basically, I'm emailing you because I want you to do all of this for me. I want you to do things for me. Never ever do that in business. You're a business. I don't do that in business. I don't ask, I offer. I always offer people things. You, as an actor and an acting business, should offer. And what do you offer to a casting director? You know, Theo, for instance, you know, the niche that you're in, you can go, look, I really solve a problem for you, and I'd like you to know that I'm able to solve that problem for you. You know, Theo, you're a wonderful example. So you know, you're totally open about this. So you're trans. Now, so many casting directors cannot find enough actors that are trans. So you contacting a casting director, wow, they would be happy to hear from you, as long as you don't go with that email saying, "Can you help me? I want to be an actor." If you go, "Look, I'm an actor and I can really solve a problem for you because this is my niche, this is what I do," and there we go, right? Oh dear, I've got what would you call it? I've got a I've got Vladimir Putin joined me from YouTube apparently. So I've definitely been hacked there or something. Great stuff. Okay, so block user on YouTube. There we go. There we go. Blocked. There we go. Add to block list in restream chat. There we go. Gone. Phew. Wow, that was scary. Let's have a look. Next question. I hope that answered it, Theo. I think that was a good question. Emmanuel says, is it better to show your versatility as an actor when you become more of an established actor, rather than emerging actor? I would assume that that's because you have more power as an established actor rather than emerging actor. Emmanuel, you've kind of answered your own question there, but it's a really good point for everyone else. And I love that, Emmanuel. Thank you so much. So really good point. So actors need to know how to be an emerging actor. And it's the one thing that actors forget to do. They just want to be an established actor. Well, it's a totally different job, you know, and you can't be an established actor without being an emerging actor first. Okay, so you need to, when you're an emerging actor, you will become very typecast. Okay, you won't be very versatile. You don't need to be. Okay, you need to genuinely be known for your niche and who you are. Then when you become established and you're kind of the first name or one of the first names, when you're the first name on the cast list in a TV series or a film or a short film, then you have certain privileges. Like you get to be involved in the development, and you get to speak to the director and say and try things and do things. When you're given a role and you kind of put in, you're there to just do that role, that narrative role, and that personality trait needs to come in, and you need to do exactly. They need to know exactly what you're going to bring. I hope that answers your question. All right. Leanne says, to work on TV and film, do you also need experience working in theatre? No, is the answer. TV and film and theatre can be two different kind of techniques. Well, they're not really, but they're two different skill sets in a way. All right. It's good to have theatre experience. It's fantastic. But genuinely, really speaking, it's just TV and film is perfectly acceptable. Okay. There we go. Right. I'm getting all sorts of pelters from YouTube. There's some strange people on saying all sorts of crazy things. Okay, so but yeah, it's totally different. But theatre is genuinely a fantastic thing to do, and it teaches you an awful lot. But it's a different technique. It's obviously you have to project more, all of that stuff. As long as you are very, very good at being kind of a double threat, TV and film, theatre, you're fine. It's just about understanding about what we call parameters. But we teach all this in class, so don't you worry, Leanne. Right. Cinderlish says, how do you find your niche? Right, here we are. I'm giving away a big secret here. The best way to find your niche, I actually say find your micro niche. So the first thing you do is get yourself into a category that you are comfortable in, that really represents you. So it might be a mum, it might be a teen, it might be an ethnicity. Okay, so it might be Indian, or and then so that's a bracket, that's a niche. That'll bring you down from hundreds of thousands of actors to thousands of actors. And then if you put a descriptive word in front of it, okay, like my daughter, for instance, is a teen, and then she put in grungy teen before it. Grungy, because that's how that's a style. She's kind of cool, Nirvana t-shirts, all of that stuff, braided hair. Grungy teen. So she's in a micro niche where there's not many people like her. And then when casting directors are coming and asking for interesting angles on roles, I can say, well, yeah, I've got somebody in this age group, but what's interesting is a grungy teen. Oh, yeah, I'll take that to her director. That's cool, actually, this kind of grungy element. So that's really how to go about it. Genuinely, just make sure that you find that niche and market that niche. All right. Let's have a look. Any more questions? Let's have a look. So I hope you've kind of got a lot from that already. I hope you're finding that really interesting. If anyone's got any more questions, feel free to ask. No problem at all. Just a reminder, if anyone does want a free class at MZA, just DM me and I'll make sure I get a free session. We're putting together a waiting list for September. Everybody's welcome. I don't mind anybody trying the class. All right, it'd be fantastic to see you along. Also, we've got, if you're around Leeds on the 7th of August, we've got a masterclass where you get showreel, headshots, and extra training with me for just 99 quid. So literally come along and I'll add you to the list. Let's have a look. Showreel. I've just answered that, actually. Showreel, how can I do one? I don't know how local you are. If not, there's so many different ways to make showreel. Send a list. You can, so many ways that are acceptable. People have got good cameras, DSLRs. There's certain kind of things that you can film. There's so many different ways in which you can make acceptable, but just make sure it looks good. All right. So much technology around at the minute. Really is. So, yeah. Let's have a look. Do you think online streaming services, Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO, will change the industry in terms of how actors get work? 100%. Yes, Emmanuel. It's changing all the time. How do I go into this? It's really interesting, actually. Emmanuel, because all of the services are fighting it out for people's viewing, right? They actually now depend on actors to bring eyes to those streaming sites. So actors need to actually create a personal brand around themselves. You need to create eyes on you so that then you can take them to the streaming services. And that's what producers, directors are looking out for. Do you have a personal brand? Do you kind of have eyes on you already? Do you have a following? Because I'm afraid that that's just the way it's going now. Genuinely, literally people are going to have to work really hard on their personal brand so that they've got something that they can take to these streaming sites and say, well, I bring 100,000 eyes with me, because they are fighting it out. And if you can have a personal brand, social media following, all of that stuff, it's going to help. And as bad as that sounds, I don't want that to be the case. It just is the case, I'm afraid. Let's have a look. Oh, bless you, Adam. You are a legend, mate. Thank you so much. What happens when you get a potential scam casting? Jane, there's so many going around. It's terrible at the minute. It really is. There's scammers. There's even some kind of weirdo putting comments on YouTube live, like under some strange thing. It's just this really bad people out there, you know, like genuinely bad people. And it's just a sign of the times. Now, if something looks too good to be true, like it's in New York and they're going to pay for your flights, then chances are, and particularly when they've not auditioned you, and the bigger value of the casting and the prize, the more value the actor needs to have. So if it doesn't quite match, like what I mean by the value is they're going to check that value. They're going to audition. They're going to do about 5 auditions before they fly somebody out to New York or Paris. So you've got to really, really understand that 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 these things, if they don't line up, chances are it's a scam. And it's all you always look into the production company, always look into the person who's leaving it, and always check with your agent. All right, really good question. So a lot of Instagram followers is a plus. I'm afraid, genuinely, it's starting to become that way. As much as I don't like it, if you think about it, something like Ackley on Channel 4 relies on 900,000 eyes on it, on Channel 4 to keep commissioned and to keep making that show. It needs about 900,000 viewers. And somebody will put out a TikTok, or somebody 15 will put out a TikTok and it'll get 10 million views. It's a very, very different world at the minute. So if there was a TikTok artist who could act, and they had 10 million followers and they were good enough to get a role on Ackley Bridge, imagine how many of those 10 million would then come and watch Ackley Bridge. And they only need 900,000. That would double their viewership. Does that make sense? So that's going to become more and more prominent as we go into the future. So it's something to think about, genuinely. Okay. Christian says, do you ever work near the South Coast for the masterclass? Christian, watch this space, mate. I'm going to be looking to do a bit more traveling, go on tour and try and get around the country a bit more, genuinely. So keep watching, watch this space, and I hope to bump into you very, very soon in person, Christian. But what I would say is start with the Zoom classes and keep going with the content. I'll get a free class to you and we'll go from there, genuinely. Let's have a look. Billy Bob Cyrus, did anyone see the movie The Majestic? Jim Carrey, his only serious role? No, I haven't actually. No, I'll have to check that out. Emmanuel says, do you think Disney is the main powerhouse company in the industry right now in terms of film productions? I think it's because of the fact that it's a group company and it literally brought its competition due to how many companies it owns. I do think it's a powerhouse, genuinely. I still think Netflix has the advantage, has the budget, and still has the kind of monopoly on it. But Disney is certainly very much understands what the future of this industry is, and it is very much pushing all of these avenues. So yeah, watch this space. Let's have a look. Right, guys, any more questions? Any more? Right, last couple of questions, guys. Otherwise, I think I'll be getting a divorce or something. All right. Yes. Let's have a look. Last couple of questions, guys. I hope you found this really, really useful. I know I've enjoyed myself. Really do enjoy kind of adding value and helping as many people as possible. So just remember, there's so many ways to get involved. There's so many ways to learn. Go on the Linktree /Matt Zina. That's LINK. In fact, I'm going to type it in now, actually, so you can follow it instantly. Linktree /Matt Zina. All right. And you can get so many ways. You can go on an online course there. There's so many ways you can get involved. How would you get cast on a streaming platform like Netflix or Disney Plus? In exactly the same way that you get cast on anything else. Get an agent who gets good breakdowns and genuinely is able to put you forward for these things. build up your CV, build up your value, and make sure that you are able to be ready for these roles. All right, let's have a look. Anything else? Will you install Klarna in your website? Right, okay, good idea. I will certainly look into it, Cinderlish. Definitely. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate absolutely everyone's questions. I hope you found that incredibly useful. And like I said, this will be there for anyone to rewatch at any time. So make sure that you are able, and I'm going to do this again probably next week as well. So make sure that you join. Much love, everyone. Make sure you check out everything, mzacting.com, linktree/Matt Zina. Make sure you click on the link. I'm going to put in a few things for you to look at. And as well as that, I've got an online digital course in the Trinity Acting method where you get a certificate at the end of it. So go on. It's currently on offer as well, guys. So it's through Udemy. But click on Linktree and then click on the link to the online acting course. And that's something really cool for you to do, get a certificate. I hope you're well. And if anyone's got any more questions, feel free to get in touch and DM me. And if you want that free class and start with it in September, we are ready for you. Much love, everyone. Have an amazing day.